Now that Alex Jones has been taken down by the state and its high-tech Silicon Valley partners, it's time for corporate social media to move into new areas of subversion. The social media top dog Facebook has announced it will team up with the International Republican Institute and the National Democratic Institute to combat supposed fake news abroad. Both these operations claim to be NGOs, but are in fact funded by the U.S. government for the explicit purpose of regime change in targeted countries. The joint effort with Facebook is designed to make sure opposing viewpoints from abroad do not influence American voters, whom the government believes are brain-dead and unable to decide for themselves what is fake and what is not. The International Republican Institute is a tool for the National Endowment for Democracy. It was created during the Reagan administration, ostensibly to roll back Soviet influence around the world, but in fact it acts as a CIA surrogate. This was admitted by its former chairman, Alan Weinstein. He said what NED does was previously done covertly by the CIA. Back in July, officials from these faux NGOs told Congress they have successfully meddled in a number of other countries, most recently Nicaragua and Malaysia, and they have their sights fixed on China, Russia, and North Korea. They boasted about their ability to force regime change on targeted countries. In 2015, Russia kicked these NGOs out of the country. Russia passed a law allowing it to close down regime change operations without a court order or any other legal procedure. China, meanwhile, accused NED of orchestrating the Tiananmen Square protest that resulted in a massacre. Chinese authorities later detained members of a human rights NGO. Facebook will work with these subversion operations funded by the American taxpayers to censor what they call misinformation and fake news. This is an obvious attempt to constrain news not only from RT and Sputnik, but also news outlets in Syria and Iran. The U.S. recently claimed Iran is meddling in U.S. elections along with Russia. A NED white paper published late last year gives us a hint of the targets. Included is Russia, Italy's populist Five-Star Movement, Taiwan, and various so-called non-state actors. Five-Star has criticized America's wars in Syria, Afghanistan, and Iraq. For instance, Google is in bed with the CIA, and Facebook apparently took venture capital from the CIA through its In-Q-Tel tech investment company. In August, it was reported Facebook took down 652 pages on direct orders issued by the CIA, or more specifically, one of its front companies, FireEye. The pages sucked into the memory hole originated in Russia, Iran, and Venezuela. All three are under the regime change crosshairs. Facebook didn't provide details on how this relationship with NED and its siblings will work. However, we should pay attention to what happens during its war room effort to shape news and commentary posted on the platform during Brazil's election in October. This effort will serve as a test bed ahead of the midterm elections in America. If Facebook is successful, and there is little reason to believe it will be, it'll take down what its establishment so-called fact-checkers, including the Globalist Atlantic Council and the Southern Poverty Law Center, consider fake news, misinformation, and propaganda. In other words, any news source that wanders too far afield of parameters set by the government will have their posts either downgraded or removed entirely. Facebook knows that in order to stop the flow of information the government hates and wants eliminated, it'll have to purge not only Alex Jones, but thousands of others who post contrary information and commentary. This might happen sooner before later, not only at Facebook, but all the other social media platforms as well. Prior to Hillary Clinton and the DNC hypocritically blaming Putin for her election loss, the government didn't have a solid case for unleashing its social media purge. Now it's created through its corporate propaganda media the fake news fantasy, which is accepted as legitimate despite a complete lack of evidence. Facebook and Twitter posts are somehow magically capable of throwing elections. This sort of nonsense, similar to the myth Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction, is now accepted by millions of Americans. This is only the beginning. After Democrats take back the House and possibly the Senate this November, the purge to remove alternative voices from social media and the internet proper will go into overdrive.
They call this the information age, and social media has revolutionized the transfer of information worldwide, allowing people to connect instantaneously and share information as it's happening. Who are the ones that are controlling these platforms? What are their intentions? And how much power do these megacorporations really have?
Everyone knows how big and powerful the intelligence agencies are. Everyone has heard of the NSA and the CIA and the other agencies around the world who have the same capabilities to spy on you and track everything that you do. Unfortunately, most people, it seems, are okay with this. What most people may not realize is that private companies like Google and Facebook and many others also share some of the same abilities to watch every move you make and gather as much information on you as possible, including information about your friends and your family. It could be argued that these private companies are in fact in a better position to gather more information on you because people are willingly handing it over to them, compared to the governments who are supposed to be limited in the way they acquire such information. With that said, the government has formed a close relationship with these supposed private companies, even working directly with many of these companies who can operate more freely while creating a safety buffer for the government, who could always deny any knowledge of illegal gathering or misuse of any collected data, or simply fire the company, or impose fines and say justice has been served. As technology continues to evolve and affect our daily lives, it is also being weaponized. Your information that is on these social media sites is so valuable to the defense and intelligence communities that it has revolutionized their intelligence gathering methods. The information gathered has been used to target people and manipulate them or change the way they think about something. This information is also extremely valuable to companies who want to sell you things. It has also created a boom in private corporations, often run by former insiders who contract with the government and specialize in many fields, including behavioral science and behavioral technology. Well, a scandal involving one of these private contractors just happened, and their name is Cambridge Analytica. And they were just accused of harvesting private information on about 50 million Facebook users and exploited that information for political goals. Specifically, they are accused of helping Donald Trump win the presidential election. Yes, that's right. Now there is another scandal involving Trump and the election, as the Russia collusion special counsel continues, despite the House Intelligence Committee voting that they have found no evidence of collusion between Trump and Russia. The company in question in this Facebook scandal is reported to have ties to Trump, as billionaire and Trump campaign donor Robert Mercer now owns the company, which has a past client list which includes the British Ministry of Defense, the Department of Defense, the Department of State, the CIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, and NATO. Many people are very upset with Facebook due to this privacy breach and have been deleting their accounts. But is it really possible to delete your Facebook account? Now, what will come out of this scandal remains to be seen, as the investigation is just underway. But this scandal raises some very important questions, such as the tactics and cyber operations that people are being subjected to by governments and private companies, who are using weaponized propaganda methods developed by the military and the CIA during the Cold War. These methods are so effective that they have been used to swing elections, overthrow governments, stir up civil unrest, and promote wars. Now, it's up to us to explore solutions to safeguard against this military-grade psychological and cyber warfare we are being unknowingly exposed to. For more information on the close relationship between the government, specifically this week on NewsBuzz Geopolitical Report, Kurt Nimmo pulls back the curtain on the black budget for the U.S. government, exposing a massive black hole that sucks in trillions of dollars of your tax money for top-secret operations while remaining in the shadows, with no accountability or oversight, as even Congress is kept in the dark.
Although we know little about the CIA's current black projects, there is plenty of evidence of covert activities since the end of the Second World War, including Operation Paperclip, Mockingbird, MK Ultra, and Gladio. It's documented that Operation Paperclip imported a number of Nazi scientists involved in high-tech projects. CIA black ops are well known, from covert and special operations against Saddam Hussein, involvement in narcotics trafficking, the overthrow of dozens of governments and leaders, and association with organized crime syndicates, including the Mexican drug cartels.
This is a